and welcome. My name is Serena Bird and I am here in the Jungle Room at the Canberra Innovation Network with a very special guest today, which is Dr. Craig Davis.
Thanks for inviting me, Serena.
So, Craig, turned out we worked together years ago, although we've only recently remembered that. So we worked together probably close to 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
But I know him because he takes a number of courses here at the Canberra Innovation Network, including the Griffin Accelerator course, which I think is pretty much your baby.
Well, it's one of my babies.
One of your babies?
You end up with lots of babies in this trade.
And the Idea to Impact course, which I've completed this year with thanks to the ACT government for the scholarship to enable me to do that. So Craig has a lot of insights about a lot of issues, but I'm going to start with the question, what is innovation?
Well, how long's a piece of string? But look, innovation is doing new things. And I like to say new things that benefit people because I like to always connect it to people. If you've got a business or product, you're thinking, if I can do something better for my customers, if I can improve my product, if I can make their life better in some way, you're innovating. Now, there's some innovation is super deep, where there's some quantum invention, innovation. Some is just doing a better process. Some innovation is just changing the way you work to make it work better. So everything's innovation. Our specialty is slightly step ahead innovation, where a lot of the things you normally do don't work, and we sort of try and empower entrepreneurs with the tools to get past those barriers. We sort of specialise in that barrier, if that makes sense, and that's a big part of what we do at the Innovation Network. But a lot of it's just basics, just doing what you do, keep doing. Does that make sense?
It does. And, I guess it's a question I have, which is, how you make it part of your practice at work. I had a boss once, and I won't say who he is, he was quite senior, but I'd been able to go on a training course with Google. Someone from Google came from Sydney to talk in our innovation area about tips and tricks for innovation. And in allowing me to go, this guy rolled his eyes and he said, "Oh, why do we have to innovate? Can't we just do our job?" And I think sometimes people think they have to do something really new to be an innovator, that they can't just be doing their job.
Yeah, sure. Look, and also there's a place for just doing your job as well. So, sometimes it might be a big place or a small place, but there's certain basics you've still got to do, right? You've still got to do your account. If you're in business, you've got to do your accounts. You've got to collect your payables, your receivables. You've got to, all the basics, you've got to do them. Question is, do you want to improve? Do you want to offer your customers something better? And now, and some part of your week should go on innovation. Maybe it's not a huge part of the week. Some people, it's all week because that's all we do. But for most people, it's a small part of your day or your week where you do something which is improving your business, improving your customer's life. And oftentimes it's a lot of small improvements that add up. And occasionally you'll find a really big improvement or a new product. So we've already got customers in this area and they're really happy, and I really want to add a whole new product to my range or a different way of dealing with them. That's all innovation as far as I'm concerned. And whenever you do something new, the challenge of innovation is you don't know exactly what will happen. When you're doing the same things you've done before and what your old boss called, just doing my job, right? To a certain extent, that's a lot of people like doing that because it's comfortable and safe, because the job's sort of the same today as it was yesterday. And if I've sort of got it down how to do this, then I can just do more and I feel safe and comfortable. And innovation can sometimes be scary because I'm going to be trying new things, and so really a lot of it's actually about managing those risks and figuring out how to not do stupid things, because that's another risk in innovation, is we can get too innovative and get too excited about something and maybe even get distracted from our main job, and that's not always a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's that classic story about astronauts going into space and not being able to write things because, you can't really write with a pen very well in space. So, of course, and I'm sure you know this story much more than I do.
Well, I know of it, but you tell it.
Well, you probably know many more details, but in NASA they spent an inordinate amount of time, inventing, a pen with, the ink that they could write in space. But, of course, in Russia, what did they do?
They used a crayon. It just works.
And it's easy to laugh at that, but, the amount of times I've gone down a different rabbit hole doing really complicated things, and then I've stopped and I've gone, hang on.
Yeah.
In my latest venture, which is very new, Irene, Jen from here knows about it, but I was sort of a bit embarrassed to talk about it because I feel I should be focusing on other things, but it's the Joyful Fashionista. And at first I was like, I need an app. And I was thinking, how am I going to develop an app? How much money is this app going to take? This is going to take a long time. I probably need to, talk to some people, do a prototype first, do a whole lot of stuff. And then I sort of thought about it for a few days and I went, I wonder if I can just do a website first. And I talked to a friend and she said, well, actually, I don't usually use apps. I prefer websites. And she's in my target audience in terms of age and everything else. So I went, okay, that's interesting. And then I did a bit more research and I found a template. So these days there's a lot of templates for website development. So I did a template that does about 90% of what I wanted to do. So it took me about a week and a half to get a prototype up and running myself. I'm not a professional web developer, but I did it. And then it turns out there's an actual app that's built into this. So I can actually, as part of this $69 free off-the-shelf template, I can actually prototype an app. Now, of course, that's not brilliant, right? So, obviously, if I put big money into developing an app, I'd get a much better outcome. But, I can use this right now. Then I just send it to people and say, trial it right now. And then I can play with it and tweak it. But, my mind was initially going, because everyone says app, right? So my mind was I need to get someone to code it and to do all these complicated things. And actually, I didn't need to do any of that at all.
So two things there, and one is there's just this incredible array of tools and systems out there. So you don't have to do all of those hard IT works and program your database and all of that sort of thing. Somebody's done it for you, and it's relatively easy to use those tools and there's a lot of them out there. Sometimes it takes a little while to find them, but it's a lot easier than building it yourself. So there's a lot of tools you can use. But the other thing I really want to focus in on there is the path to innovation is I want everyone to be thinking, what's the benefit I want to offer my customer, and that should drive how we deliver it. Does that make sense?
It does.
The innovation there isn't the app. It isn't the clever web platform you've used. It's what you do with that app, right? It's how you benefit those people. It's the new experiences. It's the better way they can engage in fashion, right? And remember, the technology is a means to an end. And when I talk about innovation, that's why I say how it's I want you to think something that's new and benefits people. That person could be yourself, and you're innovating your business process. But if it's a customer, it's what am I giving them that makes their life better, that they're happy to get, and then that adds up to, and then you figure out the technology or how you're going to deliver it. So for me, that's a really important thing is benefits first. We spend a lot of time encouraging you to think about benefits. We talked a minute earlier about risk. And when you try to do something new, maybe it won't work out, maybe we're not sure, maybe we're not comfortable about innovation and risk. Well, a lot of the smarts there is to de-risk it. You just heard Serena de-risking in a particular way. Instead of spending large amounts paying developers to build something, she paid $69 to use the platform.
There's still a little bit more.
Let's call it 100, but and a few hours of your time. That's worth something. That's worth something.
But I had fun with it.
Let's call it $300 worth of, and that's a $300 test, not a $3,000 test. And the beauty there is if it all went bad, you've lost $300, not $3,000. So managing risk is a really important part of innovation. We're always looking for ways to manage risk, or ways to deal with that uncertainty. When you're doing something new, and I want all of you to be doing something new, right? Every day or every week. Now, it might be a small improvement, And occasionally it'll be a big improvement, but I want you to, because let's face it, in this world we're in, if you're not improving, you're going backwards. Your competitors are going to be improving. I want you to think, and the key message I want you to really, the best way to test a new idea, one step short of doing the simple app, is talking to those people. Yeah. Listen to them, understand their needs. They may already be your customers and you want to add some more value to them. That's a great, you should know your customers, talk to your customers, listen to your customers. So it's not just, so when we engage with people, we often tell them about the great things we're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for when you're doing something new, I want you to just spend a little while, stop talking and start listening. You listen to people, get into their world, hear where they're at, understand their needs, and then you'll be able to offer them back and say, if I did this for you, would you pay for it? And getting some, wow, yes, when can I have it? People leaning forward like this. Yeah. When you're getting that, it's time to spend $69 on the app, right? And then test it more and develop it and build it up. The innovation often happens a little bit more gradually than you might think from reading about it in the media, because we like to, in the end, we tell this story about how I did this and next thing you know I had Snapchat or whatever the thing is, right? Actual reality is not that. Actual reality is always much more, lots of little steps is what got people to that successful innovation. So I want to talk about confidence, because that risk and confidence, and I was just talking before we went live to Serena about confidence, it's a big issue for innovators because we worry about what we're doing, right? And you know, correctly, because you're doing something new, you don't know 100% what's going to happen, and you know, there's lots of uncertainty, and you might not feel 100% confident to do something new. You might worry it'll be embarrassing if it doesn't work or something like that. So
self-doubt, the imposter syndrome.
Well, okay, and self-doubt, yes. Well, I would say there's real doubt. There's real grounds to be doubtful, right? Because we don't know. And there's also maybe what I'd call psychological reasons. That is our internal self-doubt, our confidence, our self-confidence. And I think that all comes together. And I want to give you one tool today that will help, that I think will help you to become more confident about your business and about innovating. And it's called Listen to Customers. Listen to customers, because I think you'll find that when you engage with those people who might be your existing customers, or they might be people you want to be your customers, and you talk to them about what you're doing, they're going to say to you, "Wow, really? Can you do that for my fashion? The way I engage with fashion?"
Yep.
Well, you know,
I hope so.
And I think you find from those personal interactions and try to have a really authentic conversation, listen to them. And when people really do tell you, "Oh, that's amazing, Serena," that will make you much more confident. And so, because what we sometimes do is we try and figure out, should I be confident? And we try and figure it out ourselves. And it's all internal. And I'm thinking to myself, should I be confident about this thing, Craig? And it's very, in that little bubble of my head, it's very easy to self-doubt, right? Once you get out of the bubble, go and engage with other people, talk to them about what you're doing, and show them your product when you're ready. And look, if they hate it, they hate it. But much more likely, you're going to be able to find people who are like, "That's fantastic." Now, it's not about whether I thought I should be confident. I've actually given that job to my customers, and they've said, "Craig, you should be confident."
So Jackie's just said, that's amazing, Serena. And I also want to acknowledge that Susie Cherub is also watching too, and has left a positive message too. I just want to go back to the customers and listening to the customers as well. So I've just completed this Idea to Impact course, which was amazing. And it's basically, I guess, what you call a lean startup course, I think.
Well, there was a big theory called lean startup, but developed by Eric Rees, Steve Blank. You can find Eric's book on Amazon and stuff like that. Steve Blank does excellent videos on YouTube. but they're pretty American. They're pretty startup style, really.
They speak so loud and so fast.
It's a thing. And so what we're trying to do is to translate that into what I think is more authentic language for here. And also in the workshops, when we run workshops, we what I find is instead of telling you about it, I get you to do it. And it's really, so learning by doing, just like you normally do it probably in your own business, right? You must think about times when you thought, well, I didn't know how to do that, but I just did it because I had to, and now I know how to do it, right? This is a normal entrepreneur experience, if that makes sense. And actually, it's part of the fun of it. So in our workshops, we just get you learning by doing.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Well, my 8-year-old released a YouTube channel this week or last week, and I was like, how did you do that? And how did you do the thumbnail? I said, I just went onto Canva and I just worked it out. It's like, gosh, he's 8, he worked all this out, and I've worked out this program, worked out that program. So the younger generation don't have that fear, and they're really, really good at it.
Totally, and maybe he might invent the next Canva. By the way, if people don't know, Canva is an Australian company, led by a very smart entrepreneurial woman, Melanie. I've forgotten her last name.
Yeah, Melanie.
Something like that. It's Melanie anyway. Are you the next Canva, the next billionaire Canva creator? Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? But back to the course, Idea to Impact, and back to what we were talking about with customers. One of the things that was really integral to that course was the customer interviews. And a key thing about that is, like, we all think we know our customers and we all think we know how people think. But the script was to go out and talk to them and not to go, I want to tell you all about my business and how fabulous I am and the solution I've got to the problem. In fact, you didn't even talk about that at all.
Well, I think we could. Anyone viewing this in the Joyful Business Club, I'm going to set you a little homework, and it's
homework.
It's the same homework. I know homework's a boring.
No,
word,
that's good. We're using it.
If you like, a little homework, and it's the same thing we do in a lot of our workshops. And the homework for you is this: I want you to think of something new you want to do for your customer, right? I want you to talk to some people who you think will be the customer. But you're not allowed to mention your new idea.
Right.
Okay? I want you instead to ask them about what they're doing in the area you want to help them with. Does that make sense? So you mentioned your fashion app, right?
Yep.
So maybe it's a particular part of the fashion process that you want to help them with. I want to help with choosing these things, right? So I want you to, in that case, Serena, you go to some people and say, tell me about the last time you did this process.
Yeah.
And just like that, and listen, and if you don't mention your idea, you'll learn more. Now, maybe at the end of if they say, so what are you up to?
Yeah.
Right at the end of the conversation, feel free to say, by the way, I've got an app. It's only $10 a month. I don't know what something like that. But that's my little homework, and I think you'll all be surprised that you get some new insights from that.
Yeah, you do.
And what we do in the workshop is just make you do lots of that, and we give you little tips and tools and sort of also put you in a cohort of other people, so it's sort of doing it all together. And hopefully it's sort of like, let's go to the gym and flex our muscles, build our fitness to do customer engagement around innovation. So
yeah, it was scary, I'll be honest. We had a challenge of 100. I think I got up to about 34. But that said, I identified that I was having such deep and meaningful conversations. I actually didn't want to rush it. I wanted to have those proper conversations with people. And, I guess pre this course, I probably would have said, okay, so this is what I'm developing. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And of course, what are people going to do? They're sitting in front of you. They're going to go, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That's really nice. Because of course they're going to say that. They're not going to say, I think that's rubbish. But when you say, okay, and this was for the Joyful Business Club, so what are the challenges you're facing, as a woman starting up in business? Do you network? Do you not network? Do you do this? Do you not do with this? What do you use? What's useful for you? You get a whole different conversation that comes out because people will be honest about what the problem is.
Yeah, and the last time you went to a networking function, how did you feel?
Yeah.
What was the process? How did you prepare? Ask them questions like this, and you're going to find gaps.
Yeah.
You're going to find real big gaps where that process just didn't
what
could have
worked
been
really
so
well,
much
what
better.
could have been better, you know, how you find things. So you get a whole different conversation. But then at the end, people do, because you've listened to them so much, and, you know, and there's a lot of people who are really passionate often about these topics, I find, and people actually usually love the opportunity to talk about something that they're deeply passionate about or is a problem with them, and they like to give you solutions. And in the end, they'll usually turn around and go, oh, well, thanks so much for listening to me. Now, can you tell me what your business is about? And so then that's actually an opportunity for you to pitch about what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you've got that background of relatedness.
Totally.
So it's actually been a brilliant process.
10 times more receptive.
Yeah.
It's just the way human beings are wired. We prefer to talk about ourselves, right? So no, it's just serious. I find
it's
this.
True.
So if you go on, and maybe even think about this just in a normal family or social setting, just ask somebody a question about themselves and ask a couple of little follow-ups and just watch what happens. They'll go, oh yeah, I did do that, and tell me more about that. Oh, that sounds difficult. And just a tiny little prompt, and next thing you know, you're really learning a lot. And they're happy and they're engaged. And so I love asking questions to people, nice open-ended questions. Try to avoid yes-no questions, open-ended questions. How did you, when would you, how did you deal with that? What was hard about it? You know, all of those things. And I think you'll find that really helps you to find ways to make your business better. After all, this is a business conversation. You might find it strange to hear from me, and I'm an entrepreneur. You know, we've got to make businesses that are profitable, and I'm not talking about pushing somebody to buy your products. When we do innovation, when we do good business, we find the people, we find the ways to engage them where they're like happy to pay. They're like, wow, I want that. You know, if I'm buying a dress or something like that off your app, I'm so excited about that. I want people to be excited.
You do, and and I know we've had discussions about free in that context too. And free is difficult sometimes because you don't want to trouble people if they're going to give you free all the time. You sort of sometimes there's time. I mean, there's obviously I love free things because I'm a frugalista, but sometimes it's a bit like, oh, but I know you put a lot of effort into doing that, and I sort of feel a bit guilty about taking if it's all for free. There's a time and a place where you really want to pay for things. Like I like to buy things from local small businesses because I feel good about that transaction.
Sure.
There's, for instance, a chef he's very good. He was a former executive chef at Sage Restaurant. He and his wife have just opened a small chef's table experience. It's not cheap, it's not frugal, it's $135, but last time I went we had 16 courses and it was exceptional, and I loved paying for that. Now I won't do that every night of the week, obviously.
Sure, but every now and again, a $130 meal that's really special.
Really
it's
good.
Really amazing. It's not just food, is it? There was a whole experience and 16 courses, tasting different things, talking about it. What was in that? Oh, that's interesting.
He served us. He shared stories of his time working, at the Four Seasons in New York and all those sorts of things. And I know he's a lovely person. I know they're a lovely family. I have that beautiful feeling of having contributed my abundance back.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And look, and it is a mistake some entrepreneurs do make, is they undercharge for their service and they undervalue what you're doing. I really want you to engage with the people that you're benefiting. I don't know whoever's listening about your business, but I think oftentimes you're doing something amazing, and if you asked your customers genuinely, how much do you think this is worth? You might be surprised what they say. You might find that they actually think it's worth more than you've been charging them. And you'd be surprised that people will often tell you that. Not always. And sometimes when people say, when people are asked, what should I pay for this? Oh, how about zero? But honestly, that's not the authentic response. And it's very common that people will actually tell you quite honestly, you know what, I would pay more for that, Serena. They will say stuff like that. And make sure you listen. By the way, what do you do with that customer? You say, don't worry, same price for you. I love you. And then charge the next customer a little bit more. Make sense? There's nothing wrong with that. It's value, right? If somebody's getting good value, right, then the price isn't too high. It could be expensive, like that expensive meal we just discussed, but it was a good value meal, wasn't it?
It was amazing. And, that was in early October, and you see I'm still talking about it, right?
Still talking about it, months later. And, if you want to go to a concert, concert tickets are not cheap, well, maybe which one would you prefer?
After COVID, probably the concert. Jackie's got a comment. She said, "I think I'm definitely undercharging time for some brave conversations." Yeah,
well, please do be a little bit brave. And my promise to you is, if you're a little bit brave to have those conversations, you'll find that after a while you need to be less brave, because people are really nice, actually. I know there's the odd nasty person around, but honestly, most people are really nice, and they will be so nice and helpful for you. Look, I'll give you one more tip there when you're a bit afraid of having a new conversation. You're approaching people. I just want you to make it really easy for them to say no. Really easy for them to say no. You don't want to be talking to somebody who doesn't want to be talking to you. So just do it like this. Serena, have you got a couple of minutes? Just wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Of course.
So, of course, and I'm going to do it, right? But, the way I asked that, if she said, well, I'm sort of busy, that's fine, Serena. Maybe another time. Just take no for an answer, really. And that, I can't emphasise, if you just do it like that, you take all the pressure off yourself. You're not like, I've got to get this person to talk to me. Just make it really easy. Light touch. Does that make sense?
It does.
It may sound contradictory, because in business we have to make a sale. I'm going to tell you, in the innovation world, you're going to do better setting yourself up and taking no for an answer. You talk to somebody and they're not interested in what you do. Oh, thanks, that's fine.
They're not your tribe. They're not your customer.
Correct.
They're
Find
not
somebody
interested.
who is. Spend your time on those who are. And just take no for an answer and take the pressure off yourself. This old school, I've got to be pushing and keep pushing until I get yes, I hate it. Find people who actually love what you're doing. And if somebody doesn't, that brave conversation, it shouldn't be so brave. Just like, if they say, bit busy, that's fine. Don't make it a big thing. Once it's a big thing, then it's quite stressful. I get it. Really minimise it.
I hear you, and that point too about talking to your ideal customers. Like my lovely husband Neil, who's a bit of a self-professed bogan in some ways. If I was talking to him about fashionista, it's not going to fly. Well, firstly, he's male, so he's not my target market. And then secondly, he's not a fashionista. Susie has said, makes sense, listen, engage, and create reciprocal relationships. I love gifts, but I prefer to pay. Energy flow. Yeah, it is. It's energy flow, isn't it? You don't want to take people for granted.
Yeah, that's right. And reciprocal relationships, I think, is super powerful, because if it does flow both ways, right? And people will help you. You're the business person, they're the customer, but there actually is a reciprocalness to that. I love the way you've said that, Susie. It's great. What else should we talk about?
Excellent. How are we going time-wise? We've got 3 minutes, so we've got a bit of time for a few more questions. But one thing I wanted to say too, from the Idea to Impact course and from doing my custom interviews, and I know you know this, but I actually spoke to 2 direct competitors. One in particular who was pretty much doing what I was going to do. Now, that was pretty much one of the scariest things I've ever done. My instinct was obviously, well, someone else is doing it. There's no need for me. It's already done. They're a lot further advanced. I was like, but actually both of them were really lovely, really lovely. And the first lady in particular said, well, just to be clear, I'm expanding into the Australian market and, I'm doing this. So, it was very much a, message of, she's doing it, but she's also like, if there's any way to collaborate, we'll do that. And it's often a sign too, when other people are doing it, that there is actually a market need.
Nothing wrong with competitors. Nothing wrong with competitors at all, right? You've got to talk to them and like sometimes you'll find a competitor and they're just rude and want to tell you to get stuffed. It does happen, but you'll be surprised that people are open. So now don't go in with your biggest trade secret.
Exactly.
Have a chat. Look, I'm really interested in this sector, and I actually think you're doing some pretty good things. But I want to get in that space too. Could we have a quick chat? Would you be willing to talk to me? And just ask. And if they say no, that's fine. Nothing lost. Nothing lost. It only took me 2 seconds to ask that little question, have a little chat, and there may be ways you can collaborate with that business.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of us are in quite small businesses, right? And who's our real competitor? It's probably Amazon or someone, right? Some global giant, right? You know, and let's all as small business people, let's all disrupt those bigger businesses that we don't like in different ways, right? Collaborate. I want you to all support each other in my 1 minute left. And very quick call to action at the Canberra Innovation Network. It's really easy to book an introductory meeting with me or one of my team here and have a chat about your business and talk about innovation and see if we can help.
And it's not so scary either. I must say 3 years ago when I was first having an idea, which isn't the idea I'm in for now, it was a completely different idea. But that was good actually because I had 2 ideas and I ended up taking one of them in a different direction. So it isn't as radical or as strange as it might seem. But you know, like it's good when you've got that idea and you feel your intuition is telling you to do something, but it's up in your head. Like how do you get it from your head to the actuality? And there's a lot of power in putting it out to the universe and just being able to talk about it, really, to someone who's not going to laugh at you.
Well, they won't. And no, seriously, and also talk to each other. Of course, you're part of the Joyful Business Club, and I can't emphasise enough how valuable that sort of collaboration can be. To have peers around you and other similar people who are going through a similar journey and sharing and supporting each other. It's super powerful.
Yeah, look, exactly. So thank you so much for that plug once again. So make sure to check out the Canberra Innovation Network. You can check out their website. I am now co-working here at the network 1 day a week here in the Jungle Room. And so that's also a service that's available. They have the first Wednesday Connect, the first Wednesday of every month.
Come along and network with each other, meet interesting people, share ideas, make it easy to have those conversations we were talking about. We're trying to facilitate all of those things.
Exactly. And then there's been a female virtual founders catch up throughout 2020 and there's been...
It will continue in the new year.
So there's quite a number of things to do in addition to the Joyful Business Club. So thank you so much for your time.
And thanks for inviting me on, Serena.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.